Brak the hour, brak the outside, brak the hour, brak the outside, brak the hour, brak the outside. All praise unto Yahweh, Shemir outside. The monastery apostles of GreatMillStone, on she brothers of truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. So I was going to do this quick video here, dealing with the further updates on the Petrol yuan, and this following some of the moves that were made a couple of weeks ago with this Petrol yuan thing. And like I said in the previous videos, okay, you got it to where you got the Petrol dollar, and that's had global dominance for the longest. And I think they're trying to couple this yuan thing to be like a trading oil in yuan, but I think the yuan, what they're trying to do is they're trying to have it to where it's gold back too. So that's really gonna dethrone the dollar's dominance and the dollar's influence out there. And as I've said in previous videos, they're gonna retaliate as a result, man. Okay, now we all know this thing, the whole thing is all staged, and you know, strings are being pulled by the elite banking families. Okay, I believe some of them even Chinese looking bankers out there are actually off a Rothschild's line. And that goes back onto Hagag and all of them cats, because they always had it. They've always placed themselves in good positions, all right, to try pull the strings in various sectors of an empire. Okay, so it says nightmare before Christmas, which is starting earlier. As for you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, you ain't supposed to be into that. Okay, you're supposed to be fearing the Lord, right, keeping His commandments. And one of the commandments that He had put forth was that you're supposed to not follow the ways of the heathens. And one of the ways of the heathens is this whole Christmas thing. That's not with biblical doctrine. It's pagan. You ain't supposed to be doing it. But our article carries on. It says a nightmare before Christmas for Petrol dollar as yuan price crude future due to launch. So not too long ago, it was you know a bit of a propaganda here and there and ideas and this, that, and the third. Now really it's moving further forward, and they're trying to get the Saudi Arabians involved in the whole thing. And you know, we know Saudi Arabia is a big oil producer, especially for the United States, and that's how they got their money. That's how they're rich. But now they're saying, look, let's cut our losses and have it priced in yuan. And I think because a major factor that's going to play in that is the fact, I think, that they're having it to where this yuan is going to be gold backed. And don't quote me on that. It's just something I read in an article, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It says, China has successfully completed its 5th round of yuan-backed future testing. Futures testing may officially begin contracts by the end of this year. Okay, which is 2017, I believe. Okay, and it seeks to challenge the dominance of the petrol dollar. Now, obviously, if you got it to where you got a manufacturing state like China, so basically, if you're an investor or something like that, okay, and you're looking at the current state of the market, and he looks at China, and he sees that, look, there's manufacturing going on in there. Okay, this is a workhouse of the whole world, basically. What do you think he's going to invest in? It's going to invest in a stable market. Now, America ain't no stable market. They're consumers, not producers. The same thing goes for Britain. And when you understand economics and what gives the strength of the economy, in any case, it's a strong middle class. And the middle class is what? People that usually work in manufacturing jobs, you know, and that's how it goes, man. And that doesn't exist anymore within our British economy, and it's dwindling out there within the American economy. You still got bits and pieces, but it's on the down, okay? And so you're gonna see a massive shift, all right, towards stable markets, okay, towards stable currencies. And one of those stable currencies is now going to be the pricing for oil, for crude oil, and that's going to be a very scary thing for the dominance of the petrol dollar. Okay, that's going to be a very scary thing for them. Okay, so let's carry on with this. It says China has officially successfully implemented its 5th round of yuan-backed oil futures. Right, testing may officially begin the contract by the end of this year, and it seeks to challenge the dollar's dominance. Okay, and since last week, Shanghai International Energy Exchange said the system has met all the listing requirements after rehearsal for future tradings, right, dominated in Chinese currency. All right, and it goes on to say an official launch during the Christmas period would be appropriate. The Western market would be quiet and allow Shanghai Exchange as well as Chinese investors to adjust in the early days. It says Chinese trader Yuan Kuwei told Bloomberg. It says according to Wang Shai or Xiao, it's Wang Xiao, an oil analyst at Guad. I ain't even gonna try to pronounce that. The Chinese oil industry wants to have a local hedging tool, which is while institutional investors look like Shanghai crude futures as import products in their portfolios. Okay, so what I wanted to do is show you how this how the market breaks down for oil importation, oil imports. I don't think importation is actually a real word. So it says there in rank, you got it to where you got the Europe as a bundle is obviously going to be bigger than any other place. That's why they put it as pretty much higher, but not really higher. That's why it's like 0. Okay, because they're, it's just a bunch of nations put together to make up a union. Okay, but really the first country that comes up into there is the United States. They're the biggest oil importer as a single country, and then subsequently after that you got China as the next biggest importer of oil. So as a, if you're China and you're buying in dollars and they're the biggest oil importers and you're the second one, then it's like you're paying money to be the second, if that makes sense. You're paying money, okay, to basically be ripped off, man. Okay, so if once you have it to where the oil is traded in your own currency, that's going to be very beneficial for you, man. It's going to be very beneficial for you, because now you're not losing money in terms of buying dollars, because you'll buy dollars, man. Once you buy the dollars, you lose money, and then after you bought the dollars, you can then buy the oil. Okay, that's why the US's dominance has been so great economically in comparison to other markets, because everybody's got to deal with the oil thing, man. So if everybody's dealing with the oil, okay, and the oil is backed by currency that's not that country, you're losing more. You're paying for the currency and for the oil. But if the oil's priced in your currency, well, then everybody else has to pay for you, and that's the game China's pretty much playing. Okay, that's the game that's at hand, man. Okay, they've seen, look, we're the second biggest importer of oil. Okay, now obviously you have to factor in that for places like Russia. Okay, places like Russia, they got their own oil reserves. Okay, so you have to factor that in. So they're not so interested in the oil pricing side of things, because they got it in their backyard, man. Okay, they got it in their backyard. So if they got it in their backyard, they can just carry on industrializing, and their main thing is sanctions, man. That's why you're seeing all types of sanctions being put upon Russia, up until the point where they're being dragged out into a World War III. Okay, because that's really what you can do with Russia. Okay, you can put sanctions on them. You can manipulate the price of oil. But now they're just having it to where they're selling it in yuans. Okay, so which bypasses the sanctions, mind you. Okay, having it to where the oil is sold in yuans, so they sell it off to the Chinese. Okay, it means that they can buy. If I understand my business correctly, and you can correct me in the comment board if you wish, it means they could bypass the sanctions, so they can get their money for the oil that's already in their background. Okay, within their backyard. Sorry. Okay, which is good for them. So it's a win-win for these two countries, and it's a losing. It's the start for the starting of the ending for the dollar. Okay, well, it wasn't really the starting of the ending. The currency has been depleting for the longest, for decades. But because of the petrodollar, although it's depleting as a currency in terms of its value, that's just how fractional reserve banking works. Okay, the more you chop up how much, you're basically chopping it up. Every time it gets deposited in the bank, it gets chopped up into little smaller pieces, and therefore the value is reduced, right? But if you got it to where even though the value is being reduced, and people will still got to tap into that economy to sell, to buy and sell oil, then you're pretty much nice, man. That's how the United States has survived with a fiat currency for so long. Okay, but now you got it to where an alternative tender, which, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be backed by gold, is going to be on the scene. Then investors are going to be buying that up like it's hotcakes, man. Okay, so pretty much, I'm not going to get into any more of that. I think, it's pretty much done. Pretty much with that, I'm going to say, all praise unto Yahweh, see me outside. Double honesty, apostles of Great Millstone, honesty of others, that we pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.